Hello guys, so today I'll be doing a hammer guide. So hammer in Monster Hunter World is pretty good in solo play. However, it's not very good in multiplayer, right? So I really like hammer compared to other series. I think this version is slightly faster, more mobility, and might be more powerful and more accessible to new players, easier to use. But I don't see many people using it, right? Because of some of the downsides. In multiplayer, it's harder to play the hammer because the stun threshold increases because the monster skills in multiplayer, right? So it's harder to stun them, and when you're charging up to do all those heavy attacks, you're getting disrupted by your teammates. So that is also the downside of hammer. Hammer can be quite hard to play, right? Pretty slow, hard hitting, but as well as your main target is the head of the monster. So when you're aiming the head of the monster, it can be quite difficult because the monster is directly can attack you. They can use their fire breath attack and all this kind of stuff, their claw attack when you're just right in front of them. And sometimes I know that some players find that the monster head is too high above and your hammer swing just misses. So there's some difficulty in playing hammer. But when you master the hammer, I would say that hammer is super powerful. And it's really strong in solo play because the stun threshold does not scale. So it's a normal stun amount of damage, The amount of damage you need to stun the monster is like the normal version. It's not scaled to the multiplayer, and it's way easier to stun the monster and combo them to death. So I really like the hammer. It's like one of my favorite weapons now in this game. So I'm gonna teach you like the basic, right? So when you hold R2, then you're using a controller, right? The charge. This one is you are charging the different stages. So when you hold it, you can see when it glow means you go to stage 2, and it glows again, it goes to stage 3. Maximum is only stage 3. So there are different attacks from different stages. So your standard first stage, you have your normal swing. Stage 2, you got the uppercut, right? It's good to hit monsters that are slightly higher, their head are higher, and it's good to close up the gap, And the third stage has two different variations. The third stage, when you move and you release the right trigger, you do a spinning attack, right? Then if you charge out fully, and there's another variation where you stand still, you release, you do this one, and there's the other one. My bad, I just did the wrong one. But it has like a big ass swing, right? So which one should you do, right? I think that when you're close range to the monster, you should do the first stage. The first stage is fast, followed by a triangle. It's the best mini combo you can ever do, right? Pretty fast, and after the attack you can just dodge. If you want to continue attacking, you can attack, press triangle, triangle, triangle. So one big tip when playing hammer is never press circle. Never ever press your big bang combo when the monster is not down. Only press the big bang combo when the enemy is knocked down and you're at the head and you're guaranteed all the swings, then you do the big bang combo. The big bang combo is super slow recovery but very high damage. You don't want to do this during normal combat because you are going to get hit and might get killed, right? The only button you want to press when playing hammer is triangle for your combo, right? Just keep pressing triangle. After the combo, you can press your dodge to recover faster, right? Same as your second stage. After swing, can press triangle, and you will do the same thing essentially. The last hit is the upswing. Okay, so for the last charge, I don't think this one is a very good move. It's super slow, and if you don't press any buttons at the end, meaning if you don't press triangle to do the large upswing, you're gonna spin and your character is like having like a dizzy state, right? So the recovery for the last stage is very slow. I don't recommend using it unless you are using this variation where you stand still and you release your trigger. Okay, so this is the basic. Basically, you just press triangle and remember to charge up, right, for different attacks. Next is your circle, right? When you're holding your right trigger, you hold circle, you can do power charge. Power charge essentially increases your attack damage and also makes you immune to staggers. Okay, make you immune to stagger and increases your damage. And also your last swing for this move, the one where you stand still, slightly changes into a big bang, brutal big bang. Alright, so usually the way you wanna do this is you wanna hold right trigger and circle at the same time, so you instantly cancel the animation. So you're gonna do power charge and the stage charge, right? So you're gonna do charge and power charge at the same time. You can see my weapon is glowing, right? So let's say if you just do the normal, you charge, then you do power charge, you're gonna get slowed down and you might miss the opportunity to attack, or the monster might attack you, right? So the best way is, when you wanna do this, you wanna hold right, as soon as you press right trigger, press circle, and you are going to cancel out the animation. So you are going to complete both charges in one animation. So this is a really good strat, and I recommend doing this, basically cancelling it into one single animation. So this is a really good strat. I recommend practicing it to make it more comfortable. Basically right trigger and circle, you wanna do this always, alright? And when you are chasing the monster, you always wanna charge up your attack, and if possible you can charge up until the third attack, then you stand still, don't move, and do this big ass swing. Don't do the one where you do the spinning one, which is this one. Like I said, is super bad. Let's say I don't do a follow up, right? If I don't do a follow up, look at this. The recovery is so slow and the damage is actually pretty pathetic, right? So you don't want to do the spinning one, you want to do the one where you stand still and release your buttons to do the big bang finisher. Alright, so your first stage is a pretty good one. It's a fast mini combo with decent damage. Your second is the uppercut. The uppercut is pretty good to close up the gap and to knock them down and do pretty decent damage. Alright, so next I'm gonna teach you one of the most important move in the hammer arsenal, right? It's the ledge attack. So ledge basically ages, and having like slope is the best friend to a hammer player. So at the slope, if you do your charge attack, right, and you let it slide down, you release your buttons, you're gonna do a spinning attack. This spinning attack is gonna do area damage, and you might able to mount the monster, and it do pretty good damage. Very good mobility because you are spinning. And you can do this if you are sliding down. You can press jump. If you don't want to do the spinning attack, you can press jump, which is your X button, your jump button, and you can just do a normal swing. So this is pretty good at the slope. You can do the spinning attack, which is pretty good. Next is at the edge. So there's this move where you might see pro hammer player do, but you're wondering how are they doing it. So if you're playing it normally, right, you just jump off and you press triangle. What the frick? we press triangle, right? And you're wondering, how come I can't jump off? How come I can't get back to the ledge, right? To continue doing the jump attack. So the secret strat here is not to press triangle when you jump off the cliff. The secret strat is to jump off and press your right trigger, your charge button. So when you jump off, you press your charge button, you can go back. So you are like floating. You see that? You are like floating in the air, right? So when you're pressing the charge button when you are up in the air, you are floating, you can go back to the ledge, use your stick, walk back to the ledge, right? After you walk back to the ledge, once you are at the ledge, right, you just press your stick towards the monster face and release your attack button. So that's how you do it, right? So after you do that, press your roll button to reset, to recover faster, and also to jump off the ledge. So you are going to keep spamming this jump attack over and over again, and the jump attack do a lot more damage than your normal hammer swing, and as well as having better mobility and to do mounting damage. So mount damage is basically when you're up in the air, you attack the monster, you do mount damage. So when you do mount damage, you have a chance to mount the monster after dealing a certain amount of damage. It's basically like your stun damage to the head of the monster. After a certain amount of damage, you stun the monster. Mount damage, after amount of damage, you are going to mount the monster and you're able to do KO damage to it and knock it down. So this move is very good. When you have little ledges, you want to spam this as much as possible, because this do way better damage than your normal swing of your hammer attack, and super good mobility, and you're able to mount the monster. And it's pretty damn fast, right? The attack is way faster and way safer than your normal attack. So I recommend spamming this if you want even small ledges like this. You want to abuse them as much as possible, like this. Just keep spamming it and just roll and go back to the ledge. So this move is really good and I really like using it. And if you find that yourself not wanting to do the ledge attack, you can just jump off and continue holding your button. You can just jump off and you can just continue walking, and everything is cool. So basically hammer is actually very simple in terms of the move list, right? Very little move, very simple combos, simple mechanics, not like charge blade, not like switch axe. There's a lot of move list, a lot of combo. Hammer is very simple in terms of the controls, but difficult in terms of game plan, because you have to go to the head, you need to know when to attack, when not to attack, and the spacing and so on. So that's the difficulty part. It's basically having a good foundation of the game. Having good knowledge of the monsters will make you succeed in playing the hammer. Hammer is not a very flashy weapon, it's just a very normal, hard-hitting, slow weapon. But it's pretty damn fun and I really enjoy it. So I hope you guys, after watching this guide, try out the hammer. If you like the hammer, go ahead and keep playing it, because hammer is so damn rewarding to play and I really enjoy it ever since I picked it up in Monster Hunter World. So thank you guys for watching this build guide, not really build guide, a hammer guide, right? Alright.